Welcome back, everyone. Big week this week. Oh, look, I got some new plastic, some new armor for my hand. You see, I just clapped. Anyway, big week this week. We hit a milestone, one that I set for myself, and that was by the end of this year, I wanted to hit 50 videos inside the Attack of the AI series. We did it. Hit it. And I want to thank you guys because honestly, if nobody was watching, I probably would not have hit that milestone. Super psyched about it. We got monetized. Another big thing. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Yeah. And this week, I wanted to throw out a couple more variables for our prompts. Some Christmas variables to get us in the spirit. I'm going to keep on this Christmas theme for a little bit because I kind of like it. All right. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. Our first variable for our Christmas prompts are going to be paper snowflakes. And this is a cheeseburger in the style of paper snowflakes. You know, it looks a little bit more plastic, and I'm not seeing the cheeseburger so well, but we do kind of have that shape correct. I bet if you reran this, you get something a little closer. It's tough when you're reaching for a cheeseburger made in a paper cut. It's a long reach. Anyway, that's a cheeseburger. Oh, look at that. That's a forest. So cool. I mean, I love how it's, it could be the paper cutout command, but it also kind of has, it throws some fractal, what do you call it? Just fractal mathematics, what we see in snowflakes into the prompt. As you can see, there's some of it very spiky. I like it. And I love the deer. House. Again, really cool. Exactly what you would think from paper snowflake. Imagine mixing this with a prompt on a more complicated prompt. I bet you'd get some wild stuff. Cryptid taxidermy with paper snowflake cutout. Oh my gosh, where are we going? All right. Oh man, look at that crown he's wearing. It's really cool. Like the whole composition of this is pointing right at his face. There's a vignette that is just, bam, bam, bam. I love it. Motorcycle, perfect prompt. I mean, that's exactly. I asked for a motorcycle in the style of a paper snowflake. What else would you want? That's it. Tree, same thing. The tree has gotten some weird noise in the foliage part, which we've seen before, and this is an issue with Midjourney. Sometimes it just gets fuzzy. If I know they're talking about new upscalers and things like that. I wonder if that might clean it up. I wonder if the upscaler that we have would clean it up. I'll have to give it a shot. Oh, look at that. Ice Princess. Very cool. I love this, photographic style. It looks like it's right out of a photo shoot. Paper cutout dress and head, what would you call that? Hair piece? I don't know. She doesn't have a hair piece. Anyway, very cool. I really like that. Beautiful. Here's another woman. I thought this was such a unique style. Again, I love how it introduced a variation of paper colors. And here's another one. This is like flat paper cuts. Bring it depth and wrap it around a mannequin head. Very cool. Very, very just beautiful. Anyway, all right. Paper snowflake. Put that in your Christmas prompt. All right, our next one is Christmas ghost story. And who of my age has not been haunted by cheeseburgers of past? In the middle of the night, those cheeseburgers will wake you up, especially if you have onions on them. Anyway, here's a cheeseburger in the style of Christmas ghost story. And we know the ghost story we're referring, the whole Scrooge thing. And there used to be this, I was told once that ghost stories, beyond the whole Scrooge thing, were really popular in the Christmas season back in the Victorian-era and stuff because it made for people getting cozy. And, it was kind of a ritual that we've lost, and now we've only have the Scrooge thing. But there's our cheeseburger, Christmas. Oh, where's my clicker? Christmas ghost story, a forest. I mean, that is cool. I love that. I don't know what story that's telling, but that is just, oh boy. I don't know. I almost feel like that could be a recycling ad where these are the products we threw out and didn't recycle, and they're coming back for us. A house. Look at that. It's cozy, but it's creepy and, very fairy tale style architecture. But it has a cozy interior, cold, macabre exterior. Another house. I thought this was cool. This, you got the tree. Was this a house or a tree? No, this was a house. But it was also the way the tree is drawn. It's almost in like how you would illustrate hair or fur. And then this snowstorm that's kind of reaching over. I mean, it's really cool. Like, that's drawn in like the same style. I love all this. It's it almost has a Dr. Seuss feel to it, looking at these trees. And of course the lack of straight lines in the architecture. Very much. All right. That's a cool picture. I really like that. Oh man. Oh, look at his lips. That is just horrific. But that's a Christmas ghost story. Oh, which ghost is he? Christmas past, present, future? I'm hoping he doesn't visit me. Motorcycle. That's just wild. I love it. I love how whatever this gauze or thin sheet is blends so perfectly into the fog. It's almost like it's one. Oh, this one, I kept this one. There were more obvious octopuses, but I thought it was so interesting how it interpreted the beard dreadlocks as tentacles for the octopus. So I ran with that. I'm like, hey, you don't see that often. I like to share things that you don't see. It might not hit the mark of like, hey, that's an octopus, but it's pretty cool. Here's a tree. There's something's happening. Somebody's like, hey, they've fulfilled their journey, and the tree of enlightenment is been turned on. Another tree. I thought this was cool. Kind of has those fairy lights. You definitely, like, you have this. The other thing that's unique about this image is this looks more macro photography, telling from the depth of field and everything, which gives you the feeling that the scale of this is tiny, that it's a tiny little tree, something that you would put on like a railroad or something in the middle of this muddy basement. Like, I'm not like the depth of field is giving the feel that these are normal size walls and steps, but that this tree is tiny. And that's something to kind of train your eye on with photography, is like when you're looking at an image, when you're looking at a painting, picture, drawing, illustration, photograph, one of the questions to ask is, what is the scale of this? And is the scale obvious? A lot of concept artists inside of feature film work are masters of scale. And it's not as easy as you would think to make something look big again, to give the hints of massive scale or tiny scale. But this definitely gives me the hints of macro photography. And it's just pretty cool. A woman in the style. She looks ghostly, but she also looks very human. If you wanted to hint towards her being a ghost or something, I can buy that. But and it's that very thin white veil. That's it. All right. That's Christmas ghost story. All right. The next one should definitely give us some Christmas vibes or wintry vibes, and that is in the style of a snow globe. Here's a cheeseburger inside our snow globe, and boy, is that cheeseburger really taking up as much space as it can inside its little winter paradise. A house exactly what I would think. This one I picked because I loved the bokeh on the lights in the back. That's a real Christmas vibe style too. Just like a little guy delivering packages. I don't know. Very cool. A landscape. Awesome. Exactly what I would expect. Maybe you could make a more complicated prompt and put, lumberjack or deer inside the landscape, but very cool, very, just makes you feel warm inside. A man. All right, this guy looks like he's out there just walking his chupacabra. But very cool. Yeah, that is a weird dog thing. All right, motorcycle. Perfect. Looks like that tire's coming out. Like everything else looks like it's inside the globe, but this looks like it's come through the glass. So it must not be getting distortion from the glass on the tire where everything else seems to be properly distorted. This would be extensively distorted coming this close to the edge because of the refraction, the light refraction. So interesting, but I bet if you reran it, you would get a different response. And the snow. Yeah, that's not included in the glass either. Interesting. But this guy looks like he's inside. See, you can see the refraction and the bending of the imagery in there. And the octopus worked well inside of his snow globe. I don't know if octopuses do well in snow. I doubt it. A tree. Simple, perfect, happy. I thought this one was cool. This is a woman inside a snow globe, but it's zoomed so tightly, you just get the edges, the hint of it. I thought it was really interesting that Midjourney went in that direction. Very cool, very much in the spirit of, I'll buy that. It works. That's it. All right. Snow globe, put it in a prompt. All right, I thought this one was cool. This is Christmas needlepoint. If you know what needlepoint is, it's like you have this really thick, heavy, I want to say burlap almost, grid of fabric, and then you push colored thread through it, yarn, to create this imagery on the fabric surface. This was used, I've seen it used on, obviously, wall hangings, see the round ones. And some people made, I think you can make, patches and stuff. And there's use it on, Christmas stockings and things like that. The interesting thing, too, is it is very much looks like pixelated art. So it's like this really old style of artwork, but it also has this essence of something very modern and, our retro pixel art. So here is a cheeseburger in the style of needlepoint. And another variation to try on this would be embroidery. You get some really cool stuff with that too. But I thought needlepoint was interesting with its connection with pixel art. Here's a forest. Very cool. I love it. Here, the house, you can definitely see the pixel art aesthetic. But it also has that soft cloth feel to it, yarny feel. How cozy. And here's our Christmas fella. What's he doing there? What? But you get it? Needlepoint. Motorcycle. Well, Santa needs a good ride, and this may be an upgrade to his sleigh. Very cool. And again, this is one of those ones you throw in a more complicated prompt. You really build a prompt out around it, and you could get some interesting stuff. I bet you can get disturbing with this one. And an octopus. Very straightforward. I like it. Tree. I love the color palette of this one. And Midjourney just knew how to do it. And, you see also, to get angles, they're straight. There's no curves. It's so you get this just wild feel, and it's nostalgic. And, you know, I bet you guys got some grandmas that you would have seen something like this on their tablecloth or napkins. And a woman in needlepoint. Yep. Very much, you know, style. So cool. Style. I love these like ones that are just out there too. Like they're like stray hairs. They put the effort into needle pointing in. And, you know, as a photographer, that's something you would Photoshop out. And but this Midjourney needle pointer was like, nope, we're gonna put those stray hairs in there. Anyway, oh wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of fingers there. What are we doing? We're backtracking Midjourney. All right. Well, that's needlepoint. That's Christmas. Try these out on your prompt. Show me what you're getting. I love it. Hey, thank you so much for joining me this week and helping me hit my 50 videos in Attack the AI. We're going to keep going, but, you know, we're going to get more in there and we're going to exceed our goal. Super psyched about it. If you could do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video, that'd be great. That's all I'll say about that. But get your butt over to Discord. Join our Discord server. We're doing some cool stuff. There are amazing artists that not only are making super cool art, but are making money with this stuff. And you want to get in the conversation. All right. That's it. Until next time. We're going to do some more Christmas before this year is out. All right. Until next time.